Well, maybe tomorrow or at least sometime this week we'll be able to fire up these planters. But what we're going to work on now is we're going to grease this Pottinger Terra disc. We ended up getting this here a couple days ago. We actually traded off our older Terra disc and we traded in a Landau disc as well. This is a oh, what the heck is the model? It's a 33 footer. It's a T 10001 T or something like that. It's 33 foot, 10 meters wide. They do now make a 40 footer. I don't know if there's any of them locally here or not, but maybe we'll trade that one off that's hooked to the 9620 across the road here next year for a 40 footer. I've got to look at that disc that's on 9620 and see if it has these brackets on here. These brackets right here cover up the hose fittings. On the one that we traded in, we've actually broken them off, and they said they had an update with this bracket that went on there. But they didn't drop it off for us to put on, and they said that one's probably updated. I got to check it. But what I went and noticed is I noticed that these bolts were loose that hold the, what is there, two discs in the center. So we've got to tighten up those discs there, and we need to run a grease gun around it. This we bought this from Seidenstricker. There's the model number 10001T. We bought this from Seidenstricker, and the girls went over and picked it up on Friday afternoon. They took 2 discs over and brought this one home. So just run a grease gun around it, look it over, make sure all the bolts are tight, and then we need to, looks like they've done a little something different with this pin that goes through this wheel assembly compared to the one we traded in. So let's get this serviced up here, and then I need to get the older corn planter up in the shop. I want to put new seed opener discs on it, but we might try to disc some with that other disc as well. So let's get after this. We'll tighten them bolts up, run around it with a grease gun. And I was talking to Sarah, and I said, you know, she was asking where to go after they were at that farm that they were at. And I said, well, we're going to need you by about Tuesday or Wednesday to get hooked onto this so we can get both this and the other one in front of the corn planters. Being that these are 33 foot and the planters are 40, it's going to take a little bit to stay ahead of them. We had 2 big ones last year staying ahead. We've got the same thing going on here this year. So let's get these greased up, and we'll see what else we can get into here for the rest of the day. Ooh. That's a little too tight. Push that wrench down on the bar there. Alright, so not only is there 2 bolts looses, there's 2 of them up front there too. So there's 4 of them. And those lock nuts are some real sturdy lock nuts. Let me tell you what. There are some good lock nuts. What the hell? Why is that jumping off? Is it not the same size? Maybe if I put it on that way. This is Jared's Impact. It's a Hercules 3/4 drive. She's got lots of torques. So I see why they didn't tighten these. They're kind of a bitch to get to. These lock nuts they're real good lock nuts. I gotta tell you. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, I think this one's tight. This one's tight, but we're gonna tighten it some more. So they got 3 out of the 4 tight. The day, I'm trying to think when they put this together. I was ordered a siding striker the day the guy showed up there to put this together. And I dare say he put it together alone. But we did not get charged for setup or delivery of this. So we got a pretty good deal on this. I don't want to hear any of you clowns talking about, oh my God, I wouldn't deal with that. Well, yeah, you're right, you wouldn't deal with that. For one, you wouldn't even notice the bolts were loose. You would have just run it. And then it would be somebody else's problem when that thing got all wallered out. So, yeah, everything's good here. So, we're going to now grease it. And while we're greasing it, we're going to just put eyeballs on it and make sure everything is set. The other thing we have to do too is I don't know if I can field start this in the bunk or not. In other words, I don't know if I could set them pressures or not. I might have to wait and get it setting in the get it in the dirt before we set those pressures for the wing pressure and then the pressure on the back rollers. Another thing I want to do is I want to pull these brackets off and get rid of these plastic wheel chocks. The 9620 and the 9560 have 800 tires on them, and the tires hit the brackets here, so I won't take them off. All right, let's get some grease in this. Another thing you're going to see in the background here, and we talked about it in a couple other videos. I didn't get much footage of Andrew, but that merger on our left is the new one, and he went through this merger on the right. He's rebuilt the heads on it, put all new teeth on it, cam followers, and cam follower bearings. He was adamant that he wanted to put all new teeth on it, save the old teeth. The ones that had some thin spots in them and were wore down extensively, he threw those out. But, and he was right. He said, you know, we replace some on this. We've got some replaced already. We're going to have some digging, and we're going to have some skipping. So he wanted to do that. We put maybe, I picked up the teeth last Monday, and I want to say that bill was $6,000. And I don't know what he's got into the cam followers and the track pieces to it, but he's been kind of managing that aspect of it. The cam follower bearings or cam follower tracks were real easy to replace on this, and for the most part they didn't look like they were wore too bad, but there was a couple of them that were real paper thin on the curves of them, and they would have failed probably about halfway through this year. So this one is going into its 3rd season, and that one's going into its 1st season. So we'll probably trade this off this fall coming up, maybe. Just to keep things updated so it doesn't cost us so much to upgrade here. So let's get some grease in this and get on to the next thing. Alright, so we've started on this left side with a grease gun. We've went up to that point there. I've got to check that cylinder pin. I don't know if there's supposed to be a grease zerk in this one end or not. I've got to look at that a little better. But I made my way down through here. We have noticed that this pin in this gauge wheel, it looks like it's different. I've come across here and I've got up to this point, and this pin, I had to crawl off of it. I had to grab the camera. This pin here does not have a grease zerk in it. One was never put in it. There's one on that one, and there was one in that one there. Now it is an M8 straight. I've got a 45. I don't have a straight. This will work though. So we'll put this guy in there. Now we were kind of responsible for the final setup here, and usually the dealer does this, has to go through a whole checklist of items, because the final step of the manufacturing stage is actually what the dealer is responsible for. So the dealer does have some responsibility in the manufacturing part of this stuff. So that's what it's at. No big deal. Not a big deal. These pins are probably mass produced, and it just missed, the robot missed putting that grease zerk in. That's all it is. So we'll continue down through the unit, and hopefully everything keeps taking grease. Because the secret to this stuff is to keep it greased, but you have to give it that initial greasing first thing. If you miss the greasing when it's something that's brand new, then these will chalk up, and when they chalk up, they won't take grease, and then you won't get grease in there, and it'll never end up greasing unless you pull that guy out. So we're gonna keep after it here, and oh, I got a bumblebee flying around. So yeah, all right. All right, so everything has taken grease. We had that one grease zerk that wasn't in that one pin there. It's no big deal. I forgot to grease this roller. I started doing some work up there, but I forgot to grease this roller. And as I was doing some work up there, which we'll get into in a second, I said, oh man, I gotta grease these rollers. They have 45-degree fittings on the back roller, which is a slight improvement over what was there. It's a little easier to grease, to get the grease gun end on there. And of course, when you are greasing any equipment, it is the best time to notice things that are wrong. And we've got a bolt missing here. So we need to get a new bolt, or get a bolt in there. Looks like that should tighten up a little more than what it is. This one's tighter than that one, but it just might be the way the material is formed. So we need to get a 20 millimeter by 75 millimeter bolt in there. I don't have any lock nuts. But what I was working on before I realized I forgot to grease that back roller section is I was removing the wheel chock units and the brackets, because we bent up the wheel chocks on the old one. And I was just gonna, or the one that's hooked to the 9620, I was just gonna take them off and put them in the shop, and when it comes time to trade this in, hey, we put these on there and they look like brand new. So I was gonna put the bolts back in the holders, and I'm like, oh wow, what is this holder? Same thing. So we're just gonna move them back to here. So I've already got the one on the left side moved back. Probably, depending on, there is a 26-foot Teradisc, and maybe on the 26-foot Teradisc they've got a different tongue that bolts on to here, and there's not these brackets on there. I'm not sure, but we're gonna just move them guys back, because like I said, we have the 800 tires on these big tractors, and if you turn short enough, you can get the sidewall of the tire right about here. It's just right on the very edge, and you frickin' bucker that out of there, and then bingo, it's, yeah, we ain't gonna be able to reach it back there. Ain't no way. So got to put the bolt in back there, move these brackets down, and then that is going to do it for this Teradisc. We'll show you what that looks like after we get the other side moved and get our bolt in. So give me a few minutes here, and we will finish out this video. All right, so we've got this unit ready to hit the field. When we run it to the field, we do have to boost up our pressures on the wing pressure and our pressure on the discs and the rollers. We've got our wheel chock brackets moved back. Hopefully that's nice and out of the way. And it looks like we are ready to go with everything. We did have to put one bolt in. And a greaser, no big deal. I don't want to hear any clowns ragging on this or that. Yeah. So, this is ready to hit the field. Hopefully that sun keeps a shining and we can hit it hard. Today is May 11th. I don't know what, I think we started on May 6th last year with plant corn. And we've been hovering right around that 10th of May mark. And I'm not worried. I'm not worried at all that things are running a little late. Everything's gonna fall together. Everything's gonna fall together very nicely here. So, with that being said, that is gonna do it for this video. I want to thank everybody for watching, and we'll catch you at the next one. Thanks for watching, folks. Alright, so we had to put a little update in on this video here. We are into the next day, and I looked at the other disc, and the reason why these are not mounted back here is because when this one folds up, it comes into this area. So I know I've got a bunch of you guys that probably didn't wait till the end of the video. All the professionals have typed it into the comment section that said, hey, dum-dum, that can't go there on this disc because when you fold it, it's going to get into it. So we're just going to take these off and store them in a cool place. Store them in a place where we can put them on when we go to trade this in. So, with that being said, now we are at the end of the video. So, thanks for watching.